And good afternoon. Glad you're along. Hope you had a great 4th of July. Yesterday, I was taking exception with some newspaper articles putting Texas, specifically Fort Worth, in the same category with Philadelphia, Chicago, and some other places. North Texas is not Philadelphia, nor is it Chicago, or Baltimore, or Minneapolis, or Portland. We had some violent crime leading up to July 4th. But check the stats. Check me out on this. Any given weekend in Chicago, they've got 20, 30 shootings. And the same thing all around the country. You know, I was talking with my daughter and my son-in-law. My son-in-law is a sergeant with the police department, K-9 division. We were talking about, all of these shootings. And, we came to the consensus, much of it has to do with how people no longer value human life for any number of reasons. Well, I've worked around quite a bit over the United States, all in large markets, radio markets. And I can tell you, our Dallas Police Chief, Eddie Garcia, stands head and shoulder, and not to upset anybody, but stands head and shoulder above any place I've ever been because he gets results. And he doesn't mind telling you what he's trying to do. How do you reduce violent crime after multiple shootings? I don't know. But Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia is with me. Chief, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Hope you had a good 4th.
Yeah, you too. I hope you did. It was a tough 4th, especially in Fort Worth, Texas. I don't have the answer. This is a nationwide epidemic. I think you used that term. And I can't help but think, I grew up in a law enforcement family. My grandparents raised me. My grandfather was a high sheriff, and all my cousins worked in Rampart and all the rest. But I was the black sheep and went to law school. But I don't know that I have any more information or answers than they perhaps have. What is at the root cause of all of this seemingly never-ending violence?
Well, there's several factors with violent crime as it occurs, and you take these mass shootings that I think we had 18 or something like that around the country over this, what ended up being really, for all intents and purposes, a 5-day weekend,
right? Unless
people went in on Monday. And, when you look at, at the things that occur, I think at the end of the day, the bottom line is the everyday violent crime that happens. And there's root causes of it. One, obviously there's people that are committing crimes, criminals that have firearms that have no business having firearms, and there's a lack of accountability. And that part's what sticks with me all the time as we talk about the gun issues. We can have conversations about mental illness. We can have conversations about around the table with the politicians that set policy with regards to things in the gun policies or what have you. But the one thing that's never really talked about is the accountability part of individuals that are committing gun crime on a daily basis. And so that's important. I feel support is incredibly important. Listen, Rick, in Dallas, we would lose our city if honorable men and women that work for our department would not sacrifice their lives at any time in the day to arrest an individual with a firearm that's committed a robbery, that's committed aggravated assault, that's committed a murder, a drug-dealing felon with firearms. If we weren't proactive to do that, we wouldn't be where we're at today. But that comes from support. And to the point that you made earlier in your intro with regards to other cities and other places around the country, they have amazing men and women that work for all those agencies. What is lacking oftentimes when you see these things happen is the support. I know for a fact here in Dallas, we get tremendous support from our mayor, our council, and our city manager.
Yeah.
I know Neil Noakes personally. He is a friend of mine. He's an exceptional leader, and he also receives tremendous support from his mayor. And so those are some major differences, but we need our officers to be engaged in our communities, both seeding the communities with positivity and also weeding those neighborhoods of the violent criminal element that our communities are demanding for us to do.
You know, that's so true. As I look around the country, and, you know, honestly, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. You know, I took exception yesterday to some of the major newspaper articles across the country lumping Fort Worth in with Baltimore. Well, they had 30 people shot in Baltimore, 2 fatally, at a block party. A day later, 5 people were killed, 2 children, in Philadelphia. Shreveport, Louisiana, 3 people were killed, 6 others injured at a shooting during a 4th of July, I guess, party of some sort. 9 people were shot and injured Wednesday following the fireworks in Washington, D.C. I guess I just make the distinction, you know, whether it's accountability, whether it's support, as you correctly point out. We don't want to be Philadelphia. Yes, there are great law enforcement people. Quite honestly, if they didn't have law enforcement in a lot of those cities, they'd have total anarchy. So you've got to give a tip of the hat to law enforcement for holding the line to the degree they can. But here in North Texas, are we doing everything we can to hold these people accountable?
No, I don't believe in North Texas we are doing everything we can to hold these people accountable. I've said many times before, there are irresponsible decisions being made by judges that are allowing individuals back onto our streets that have committed gun crime. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it privately, I say it publicly. We cannot say that we take gun crime in this country seriously as long as my men and women, Neil's men and women, and other chiefs' honorable men and women go sacrifice their lives to take individuals off of our streets that have already committed gun crimes, only for them to be back out in the street in a matter of days or a couple of weeks. We don't get to say we're serious about gun crime.
Man, that's that's a true statement. Talking with Chief Eddie Garcia here in Dallas. Chief, can you stick with me for just a couple of more minutes?
Sure.
Okay. Got to step aside very quickly. We will continue with Chief Garcia. We'll do that next. All right. And sorry about that, Berkey. Stepped on you there. Welcome back. Talking with Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia, explaining how to reduce violent crime. Lots of shootings across the country and, yeah, right here in North Texas as well, here in Fort Worth. Chief Garcia, let me ask you this. Man, I'm right there with you when it comes to holding people accountable. How can we do a better job of that? From the civilian standpoint, from the resident standpoint, what can we do to help our law enforcement in what they do every single day? Because a lot of people forget. I know during holidays it's highlighted, but we have shootings all the time.
Right.
So
I think particularly in these last few years, right, when where there's been a disconnect between what some people think the neighborhoods want. And I'm not a stay in the office chief. Right. And when I go to our crime grids, which are areas that unfortunately are impacted by violence, and I have not met a community or a neighborhood yet, regardless of language spoken, racial makeup, or economic status, that has ever not said to me that they needed more police officers in their neighborhood, that they wanted us to be engaged. And there's been a disconnect between individuals that are making policy. There's been a disconnect between individuals, certain, not all, some individuals sitting on benches making these decisions as judges that do not take time to come out to the neighborhoods that I go into and hear those residents, the trauma that those residents feel, the fear those residents feel, the fact that they don't feel enough is being done to keep them safe. The fact that, yes, they want us to be professional. We need to be procedurally just to our neighborhoods. There's no question we need to be better as a profession. But our neighborhoods have never wanted us to go away. And there seems to have been a disconnect as we've gone through these last years, making policies in the name of social justice that do not make our neighborhoods safer and certainly don't make our law enforcement officers safer either.
No, I 100% agree. Okay, we've established, what the issue is. You just did a great job of doing that. Now, how do you change that?
Well, I think listen, as law enforcement officers, we rise to the level of expectations. We raised our right hands to protect, defend, and support the laws that are written in the books. And so for us, we need to go out and do our job. I tell my men and women all the time, listen, let's be the only part of the criminal justice system that does not let our communities down. So if we have to go back to a house or a neighborhood because someone called us for the 20th time on the same individual, you know what? We go back out there 20 times because we want to be the part of our system that never lets our communities down. Now, having said that, I think our neighborhoods need to be loud. They need to talk about these issues. Oftentimes I'll go into neighborhood groups that ask me the same questions you have just now. And oftentimes when there's something negative about law enforcement and police, city council chambers and other places end up being inundated with people that are speaking negatively about law enforcement, and at times rightly so. But when there's positive things, when there's things that neighborhoods and individuals can do to say we support our law enforcement, we need to be just as loud. And that's the message that we like to send to our neighborhoods and our communities here as well.
Totally understand and agree. I've got about a minute and a half left with Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia. Moving forward, how does it look for the Dallas-Fort Worth area? Are we doing better? Well, obviously we're doing better. Can we look for more positive results ahead?
Absolutely. I know, obviously I don't know Neil's statistics, but I know I've had anecdotal conversations with him, and I know that his overall violent crime is going down. Our overall violent crime is going down again for the third consecutive year. Our shootings are going down. Our incidents are going down as well. Our aggravated assaults, non-family violence, gun-related violence is going down. The needle's moving in the positive direction. And so one life is too many. One life is too many. And I know that when these incidents occur, that it's important to team up with your community. It's important to be visible. It's important to let them know that you're never leaving. But I do believe in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the needle is moving in the right direction. We didn't get into this mess overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. There are no quick fixes when you're dealing with this. We need to just continue to, and we're here for the long term. It's an investment. When you make a good investment, if you have a couple hiccups, you don't take your money out right away. You follow it through. And I know that Neil has a plan. We certainly have a plan here. We have the support of our city government, which is absolutely imperative. And with that combination, in addition to the amazing men and women who sacrifice for our cities, we will move this in the right direction.
Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia, very impressed with the work you've done since you've been here, and I hear about it every single day via email or phone calls or something. So, thanks to you, thanks to the men and women in law enforcement. And, hey, we've got to support our law enforcement. We've got to speak out about what's going on. And it's important to speak out, not when there's something to bitch about, forgive me, but when something good happens. It's kind of nice to talk about that once in a while, even if the mainstream media won't print it. We still need to get that message out. So I would encourage people to do that as well. That's absolutely correct. I'll say we have amazing neighborhoods and amazing communities in our cities that we love them and support them, and we get the same in return that is often not what's reported. And we have a gift from our communities that they appreciate us. But in our line of work, there's no touchdown. There's no, I have a saying that there is no light at the end of the tunnel. There's just another tunnel for us, and we'll continue to rise and grind for our neighborhoods. And I know Neil and myself will rise and grind for our men and women and our neighborhoods
and I know we are both committed.
Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia, sir, thank you for spending some time, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
I look forward to it. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of the week.
Thank you, Chief. We appreciate it. You as well.